First up, the story everyone is talking about today. The feds raided homes in Los Angeles and Miami that belong to rap mogul Sean P. Diddy Combs. And tonight we hear those raids are linked to possible sex trafficking. A criminal defense attorney will share his perspective in a moment. But first, here's the latest on the situation unfolding on two coasts.
So they came for Diddy all over LA. LA. Miami. Miami. They came for Diddy. They came for him finally. He's shaking his boots. All those years of take that, take that, take that. All those victims, take that, take that. All those alleged grapes, take that, take that. Cassie, take that, take that. The locks, all the contracts, all the money that he owed. He said, take that, take that. Now, you know who's saying take that to Diddy? You want to know who's saying take that to Diddy? Guess who? Homeland Security, the FBI, the whole federal government is saying, Diddy, it's our turn. Take that. Take that.
I was shocked. I was taken back. I was really shocked. I mean, I never even expected this to happen.
More people coming out. Who's this guy? Yeah, they're all kind of dressed
Definitely
alike.
shocking and hectic out here in Holmby Hills at one of Sean Diddy Combs' homes. We were first on scene as it all unfolded. We came right in the middle of the convoy of about 40 undercover law enforcement vehicles before they even put up the crime scene tape. The Department of Homeland Security making a big bust, officers say, in connection to a sex trafficking investigation. While it was all happening, investigators were also raiding his home in Miami. Homeland Security has not yet released details or named Diddy as the focus of the investigation. The 20-year-old Ryan Mendelson, he's lived nearby his whole life, and he often visits his best friend just a few doors down.
But I've seen one maybe once a week, girls lingering outside. I drive by a lot.
Wow. Did you hear what they just said? Sex trafficking. Number one, if you got enough probable cause to raid a mansion in Miami and a mansion in LA, owned by somebody that's known all over the world, somebody who's been famous since the 90s, somebody who is basically, he's stamped in history. P. Diddy is stamped in history. They got probable cause. They got probable cause. There is no government agency on this land that I ever seen do a raid like this and nobody went to jail. I never seen the government agency do a raid like this and nobody went to jail. Did he? Yeah, he's going to jail. That's a fact.
And I see that a lot of girls, maybe 5 or 6 girls outside, some leaving, some not, some going in, black Suburbans. Never know. I never thought anything of it, but now this is crazy. I mean,
As we broke word on scene and from Skyfox, Mapleton Drive near Sunset and Beverly Glen became a madhouse. And as more Bearcats and undercover cops pulled in, so did the swarms of onlookers, even a celebrity tour bus.
We all have to keep our minds open to what's going on here.
Well, this is from Brooklyn, though. Leave Puffy alone, man. Y'all crazy.
There are a lot of questions tonight, including Diddy's.
Gotta be a black dude from the hood talking about leave Diddy alone. Gotta be a black dude, ignorant black dude from the hood talking about leave Diddy alone. Forget about if there's victims. Leave Diddy alone. That's the mentality that we got. That's a mentality that a lot of us got. Oh man, they get a shot out, they get a shootout. 2 men died, 3 kids died. Free my homie. Yo, but your homie just killed 3 people and 2 kids. He did? Free my homie though, man. He's a good dude. Free my homie, man. He's a good dude.
His whereabouts. TMZ is reporting he was seen at a high-end executive airport in Miami pacing while the raids were going on. Today, I spoke with criminal defense attorney Bayoji Akingbola of the Akingbola law firm to gain more perspective on this situation. Obviously, this is a crazy case. We have Homeland Security raiding multiple homes of P. Diddy at the same time. What does that tell us?
Well, for one, in order for Homeland Security to even be able to enter into someone's home.
Nah, F that. F that. I don't care what this attorney got to say. I don't care what he got to say. I'll tell you exactly what it means. Diddy going to jail? Easy. It means P. Diddy is going to jail. We're talking about the federal government here, guys. We're talking about Homeland Security. They just don't wake up and go, Dad, let's go bother somebody today. This is months, and maybe it may surprise us when it starts going into details. Because now there's actually an investigation, an official investigation with action. Not just they're just reading documents. They're in that part of action now. Because now they're signing warrants. And people, properties are getting raided. Now, let's see what he got to say, but I'm sure it ain't better than what I had to say.
That means that there was a federal court judge who signed off on a search warrant to search for the home, which means that at the very least there's probable cause to indicate there's some reason to believe that there's an evidence of a federal crime inside those 2 households.
And I know they've hit Miami, Los Angeles, and we saw some of his sons in handcuffs. That doesn't necessarily mean they're being arrested, though, right?
Yes, absolutely not. It could be some form of detainment, especially when you're involving law enforcement officers entering into a household. That's a lot of unknown variables. They want to make sure that they're safe. So if there's people that happen to be inside the home, you want to make sure that they're detained and secured so the officers can do their job freely without any concern of anything happening while they're conducting their search.
And of course, we.
Yo, what are you trying to say? What are you trying to say? P. Diddy's sons they gonna start bucking? They gonna start loading up those clips? What you trying to say? He gonna see his son Justin grabbing the switchy? Is his son Justin gonna grab the switchy and start switching at the police? Is that what he's saying?
We haven't heard or seen Diddy at all in any of these raids.
Well, we haven't heard or seen Diddy in these raids, but I think it's important to look at the history of how we got here. There have been several civil lawsuits detailing accusations of human trafficking, the use of illicit drugs, non-consensual sex with those sex workers. And it appears that it seems as though federal law enforcement officers have been paying attention to those lawsuits and want to do some poking around to see if there's any evidence that these accusations actually give rise to federal crimes.
And of course, when you look at civil lawsuits, you think it's civil, but federal investigators or law enforcement simply can't ignore, these major allegations of sex rings and drug trafficking. So they had to take some action.
Absolutely. And we're seeing this trend where civil lawsuits are giving rise to criminal investigations. We've seen that with Jeffrey Epstein. We've seen that with Harvey Weinstein. We've seen that with R. Kelly. Where there's smoke, sometimes law enforcement officers believe there's fire. And based upon some of the empirical evidence, sometimes that happens to be true. So it appears that...
That's why. That's why when you have a civil case or any civil case, it's not criminal. It's not criminal. You're not facing jail time. So when you have a civil case, you got money, the best thing to do? Fight it. Prolong it. Because once you admit any type of okay, acknowledgement. Okay, I may have did this. Let me give you 10 million. I may have did that. Let me give you 20 million. Okay, you got me. I had too much fun that night. Yeah, you got me. You got me. I make money. It's okay. You deserve it, man. Never back down, because civil, especially when you're somebody of stature, could turn into criminal in a blink of an eye.
This is a very well-known person. He's well-known in Hollywood. So this is going to be a big case for federal law enforcement officers.
Now, we got here, or it began with Cassie Ventura, the ex-girlfriend, right?
Yes.
What happened in that case when she filed a civil lawsuit, not criminal?
So she filed a civil lawsuit detailing that she was sometimes forced to have sex with sex workers.
Oh, look at Cassie. She's a baddie. She's a bad. Yo, let me tell you, if you're a man, no offense to the rest of the females all over the world, everybody's beautiful in their own way. Everybody is beautiful in their own way. But if you're a man and you never had a chick that at least resemble a chick like Cassie, man, I don't think you ever had a bad chick.
Workers while being drugged. And as soon as that lawsuit came out, they quickly settled. That's not an admission of guilt, but certainly there was reason to settle. After that happened, there was a string of other lawsuits that came out. At least 3 other women also made similar accusations of having sex with sex workers, being drugged. And that led to the most bombshell case, which was actually by a former producer on Diddy's album, The Love Album. His name was Rodney Jones. And he not only made those accusations, but he also had his form of receipts. Now, we don't necessarily know if those receipts are accurate. They haven't been proven in court. Right. But he provided pictures in his lawsuit detailing that P. Diddy and his children, his sons, were having sex parties with underage sex workers, that oftentimes people were drugged, that he himself was drugged, and woke.
The sons? The sons? I mean, I'm not shocked. I mean, that's part of the household. The sons are basically grown men. They're part of the household. They've been part of the lifestyle for many years. They've been on the yachts. They've been living good for a long time. These are young boys that have girls at them, coming at them. Imagine being the son of P. Diddy. You literally, from the age that you start having puberty, you have girls coming at you. You have girls coming at you left and right. Left and right.
at the federal level to get a federal search warrant, it's fairly difficult. You need a lot of probable cause.
Could you break that down for me, please? Like,
Yeah, we're gonna check out Academic Stream because he has Myron on the stream from Fresh and Fit, and Myron does a very good detailed breakdown of everything. I think the man he's not your average man, man. There's a lot of lazy men on this planet, and he's not one of them, man. He's smart, intelligent, very structured, and he was an FBI agent, and I want him to break this down. And it's not on his show, but it's on DJ Academic show, who I also watch. He's also a Jersey native like me. Go Jersey, go Jersey. He up in there in New Jersey, chilling in his mansion. I know he is. I know exactly where he lives. He don't know that, but I'm a real Jersey resident. I've been here. I was born in Brooklyn, but lived in Jersey all my life. All my life. But I didn't live in Jersey all my life, but I've moved other places. But I was raised in Jersey, man. I know everywhere in Jersey. So academics, man, don't act like you can't hide from a Jersey native. I'm from here. I know exactly where you at. But I'm a good guy. I ain't telling nobody. Now go watch Academics, man. He's a good streamer. But this is a breakdown of what he got to say with Myron. Check it out.
because again, I shared my personal experience. I said they've executed a search warrant at my place before, and the simple premise was, hey, someone came to us saying that a crime got committed, and it said that you had a videotape of said crime, but you weren't willing to give it up, so we got to go get it. And that's it. Like, just seeing the text message and hearing that person's story, a judge signed off on it. They came in and got the DVR. They got whatever they needed to, look to see if it happened. Obviously, nothing happened. No charges got brought. But on a federal level, what's actually needed?
So all right, when you get a search warrant through the feds, right, you have to go to a magistrate judge to get one, right? And a magistrate judge, think of it as kind of a lower level judge than a district judge. And a district judge, you'd go to them to get like a Title III to get your to listen to a phone tap, or whenever someone's getting sentenced and a criminal case is actually proceeding. But to go ahead and get a search warrant, a simple search warrant, you just need a magistrate judge. However, AUSAs are very picky about giving search warrants, because for you to get a search warrant, you have to go through a federal prosecutor to do it, and then the U.S. Attorney's Office files a search warrant on your behalf, right, with the judge, and then you go ahead and you're able to go ahead and execute it. So whenever you have somebody high profile like a Diddy, like R. Kelly, because R. Kelly actually, HSI did the R. Kelly case as well. Anytime you have a high profile guy and they know that they're going to have the news out there with them doing raids, etc., they're going to make sure that search warrant is airtight. They're going to make sure they have a lot of probable cause. Now, with that said, for them to get a search warrant like this tells me they have multiple informants and sources of information, more than likely. People that are cooperating, giving them information. Because for you to be able to get inside of a house, you need actionable info within somewhere between 2 weeks to a month. So that tells me that someone was in the home, saw some stuff that was questionable.
Oh, see? That's some good information he just gave. So, in order for you to get into a house, the evidence has to be recent. It makes sense because it has to be recent, because if the evidence is, let's say, a year old, the federal judge is going to say, how do you know if it's still in the house? It's been a year. But if the evidence has been observed within a few weeks, it makes sense that you have a home invasion. Not a home invasion, but a warrant to go into somebody's house, because it may still be there.
Contacted the feds and they're able to go ahead and get that search warrant through a judge, because the search warrant needs to be fresh with information for you to be able to get in, especially when you got somebody high profile like this.
Okay. So again, excuse my ignorance, but because I think a lot of people view the feds as like, we don't even know what they do on a daily. So wait, how would this even be initiated? Like, does someone come to someone's cubicle and be like, hey, I think Diddy's fucking a bunch of people and trafficking in them? Like, how does this even get started? Like, okay, say you're an agent, right? Because you used to be an agent. If you're an agent, how would you get this started? Do you have to go to your superior? Do you have to, like, kind of get other people on board with this? Because I can't imagine a judge is just like, you have a thought and then you just write it up and a judge just listens to it immediately. Who would you have to talk to get, because it got to be an investigation of some sorts before this even starts, right?
Yeah. So, okay. So I could take you, there's many ways that this could begin, but I can give you a typical scenario of how it'll happen, right?
Okay.
So you'll be sitting there, right? And you'll get a tip, right? Like the duty agent, right? So there's something called a duty agent, and the duty agent is the guy that's on call that day. So it can be very easy where, like, someone will call in a tip, hey, I got this information, blah, blah, blah. It gets fielded to the duty agent. Now, if nobody already has the open case on Diddy, the duty agent is responsible for either A, taking that case, or delegating it to the proper group. Now, this is the LA field office, right? And guys, I'm going to give you a lot of detail here, so bear with me. So this is the LA field office. I know they have a human trafficking group and they have a human smuggling group. So more than likely what happened was, if it came from a source and there wasn't already an open case on Diddy, it got routed through the duty agent to this human trafficking group. Whoever was...
Whoa, what is that right there? That's a picture of that's like a statue of like the Emmy. That looks like a statue of the Emmy. It's nice. That's real dope, man. Let me tell you, man, these properties is all in trust accounts and all on the LLCs, so just to maintain, look at them bushes, just to maintain that structure, I mean, it take a lot of employees, man. A whole lot of employees.
On duty for the human trafficking group that day, right? Because there's a general duty agent and a human trafficking agent, right? We'll take the case. So they get the case, they get the information. They meet with the source. The source says, hey, I got this information, XYZ. The agent verifies it. What information do you have? Oh, I got toll records. I was in the house. I got these pictures, blah, 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 right? So the agent, looking at the information, will then decide, okay, I'm going to open up an actual formal investigation. They open up a case. They generate a case number. Once they generate a case number, they put in that initial report of investigation, right, or ROI. Then, then they go to their supervisor. Hey, I got this information. I think it's good. Here's the source. Sometimes the supervisor want to meet with the source and you debrief them together. Something like this, they probably debrief the source multiple times, or they have multiple sources, right? And I can see right now, I'm watching your video, that this is all HSI. So 100% they ran this thing, which is I expect, because it actually does human trafficking. But anyway, they get that information from the source. Then they call the AUSA's office. Hey, I got this information. We have reason to believe that Diddy's involved in some sex trafficking, blah, blah, blah. Here's my information. AUSA goes through it. Okay, good. Write up an affidavit. That agent writes up.
Wow, you see, this is the breakdown that we need. I told you, Myron's no joke. Go watch it. He's a good show. He I'm about to say Netflix. YouTube gonna kick me off. Nah, go watch it on YouTube, man. It's a good show, man. He got a show, Fresh and Fit, and he has a show, The Feds, because he used to be a Fed, and he breaks these cases down one by one.
An affidavit. AUSA goes through it. AUSA pushes up his chain now. He pushes up all the way to United States Attorney for the District of Los Angeles, right? Or the Central District of California is probably going to be, or Southern District California, depending on where LA falls. I think it's either Central or Southern District California. Either way, then Assistant United States Attorney pushes that affidavit up all the way to the USA. That's a presidentially appointed position. They approve it. They say, all right, it's good to go. It's been through multiple layers.
Wait, hold on. So you're saying all this has to happen before what we're watching?
Yes, 100%.
Oh shit!
I'm explaining to you the full process of how it goes.
Act, come on, Act. Come on. No, Act. is happening after they raid. They're gonna do all this paperwork and go through the judges after they raid. They're not gonna do it before they raid. Yeah.
So agent writes the affidavit, sends it to AUSA. AUSA sends it up all the way the chain, especially something big like this. USA goes ahead and signs off on it. Then they they send it directly to the judge. The agent goes to the judge's chambers, swears to the affidavit. Is everything in this affidavit true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Yes, it is. Boom, sign it. Now they got the warrant, and they could go kick the door in.
Wow.
That's how they do it from A to Z. That's how it would typically work. Or it could have been the other option is this. There was already an open case on Diddy. They've been looking for it. They've been investigating this for a while. Maybe complaints came in or whatever. And then they finally got the probable cause to go ahead and search the houses.
Hey, oh my God. So how does this coordination work? Because this was also alarming to me. So they're raiding 3 different states: California, New York, and Florida at the same time. How much I just threw, like, so you know me, I'm like a pocket watcher guy. So I'm like, yo, this has to cost the feds like $100,000. So many people, manpower. They have to coordinate with law enforcement locally. This is 3 houses that are huge that they all have to go get in whatever amount of time. How does that coordination work? And how is the resources even allocated? And how does like even HSI or the feds treat this type of huge, extensive operation, right?
Yeah, sure. So this is how it goes, right? What ends up happening is there's going to be one case agent and the lead office, right? So it's either going to be New York, Miami, or LA is the lead office. And then there's one case agent, right? Now that case agent is a part of something called a group. Every group has somewhere between 7 to 15 guys, right? That's composed of HSI special agents, task force officers, etc. So that case agent is responsible for this investigation. Then he identifies other properties that the suspect might have, one in Miami, one in LA, one in New York, right? And what he does is he reaches out to his counterparts. They send something called a collateral. All right, I'm really getting into detail now with y'all. So he sends a collateral request to those other field offices and says, yo, I'm getting search warrants, right, on this property. I also need search warrants in Miami and in New York. So he needs a judge to sign off. He needs 3 different judges to sign off because you can't get a search warrant for a property that's not in your district as a judge. So the case agent...
Wait, even federally?
Yeah, no, you have to go to a judge in that district if you're going to do a search warrant. So, So for example, they got a judge from LA, Central District of Los Angeles, which I think is where LA falls in, or the Southern District of California. Southern District of California. Then they got one out of depending on where Diddy is in New York City, Southern District of New York. Then they got another one here out of the Southern District of Florida, right? Those 3 magistrate judges signed. But more than likely, the case agent coordinated with other agents in the Miami field office and the New York field office to get the search warrants. I'm not sure who wrote the affidavits. It probably was the main case agent because he's going to have all the facts. He wrote the affidavits, then he gave it to those agents in those other places, and they swear to it. If you read any affidavit, it says, the information presented is merely to establish probable cause, and it's information given to me by other agents and law enforcement personnel. That's what that means, that sentence. Because that other agent out of LA, who's probably the main case agent, he wrote affidavits for the Miami properties and for the New York properties, sent it to an agent over there in New York and in Miami. They swore to it in their district with their judge. Then they were able to simultaneously.
Yo, it's a lot of breakdown. Yo, it's a lot of breakdown. That's how the law work, man. They have so many corners, and every corner is a new corner. Somebody have to sign something. You turn another corner, it's a corner. Somebody have to sign something there. That's how the system works. So then they have so many corners that they need to do this. They have so many people that sign that they need to do this. So when you're trapped, you're like, wait a minute, who's gonna investigate me? Okay, who signed this? Okay, who? Okay, the district. Okay, it's so many corners.
Simultaneously do search warrants at each property. And then he also, on top of sending an affidavit over there, he probably sent them a collateral request to do a search warrant. So there's an open case in New York, there's an open case in LA, and there's an open case in Miami, all under the main case number, probably based out of Los Angeles. I'm assuming the case agent is probably out of LA.
Wow. Hey, recently, it's so crazy to me that this is why I thought it wouldn't happen. Recently, New York City's mayor, and I'm wondering how much. So when this is going on, how much are like elected officials even briefed on it? Like, for example, not too long ago, New York City's mayor Eric Adams actually gave Diddy the key to the city. You know, do they usually know, like, hey, we're investigating this guy and we might take him in, or we might actually make some moves on trying to get him, charged in the foreseeable future? I think this happened within the last year or year and a half.
Yeah.
Man, ain't no federal government contacting no politician. Oh, don't rub shoulders with this guy because we're investigating. Ain't no government doing that because the government, the federal government stay neutral. They don't care about nobody being so celebrity. They don't care about nobody being president. They don't care who you are. The federal government priority is number one, the federal government. The federal government is a business. The federal government is a LLC. They don't care who you are. You live on this land. The federal government is the king and you are the peasant. You are the peasant. They could care less. They could care less. You tell the federal government do not notify nobody. They don't care because they could be investigating the same politician. Come on, Eric Adams. Come on, Eric Adams. You think the government cares about telling a mayor like Eric Adams? Oh, don't rub shoulders with P. Diddy. Hell no. I don't care about no Eric Adams.
Hold on, bro. You cut out there. I'm sorry, man. Is it something about the mayor of New York? I'm sorry.
Yes. So the mayor of New York gave Diddy a key to the city.
Okay.
And this happened pretty much like in the last year and a half, I believe. Now, do you think that an elected official, while all this is happening, would be almost briefed like, hey, listen, you want to stay away from this guy because we are investigating him. He might be the subject of an investigation that we might take him in, because this looks embarrassing for the mayor of New York, who, by the way, himself has certain type of allegations as well.
Yeah, no, they definitely didn't tell him anything. Guaranteed.
Really?
Shit. Yeah, like whenever you're doing an investigation like this, high profile or whatever it may be, you're gonna do everything in your power. And I'm looking at your video right now, like from this. I could see that there's higher level brass at this search warrant too. Like everybody's out here. I'm looking right now at your video.
Wait, how could you tell? How could you tell? How could you tell?
I could tell because the way they're dressed. So like the guys that are there wearing suits and shit like that, those do, like 99% of agency agents don't wear a suit every day to work. They just don't. Like, bro, that we used to make fun of people that do that shit, right? So I see guys in formal wearing, etc. Those guys are more than likely assistant special agents in charge, special agents in charge, deputy special agents in charge, etc. Something big like this, I'm sure that they would all be out there too. But yeah. But as far as like the mayor of New York, nah, they didn't tell him shit, bro. Guaranteed. Like they especially if he has his own allegations going. Whenever the feds are doing cases like this, they try to keep it hush hush because they know it'll be a big deal if it gets out there. The fact that they're able to pull this off without the press being out there immediately and disrupting what they got going on, hey, they did some pretty good OPSEC.
Wow. So, okay. Now, a lot of people are looking at this and they're thinking that Diddy is already in cuffs. From what I heard on the news report, they said the feds probably strategically planned this because Diddy boarded a plane leaving either the LA or the Miami residence today, and they did it while he was away, But I could imagine wherever he landed at, they probably greeted him and probably served him, saying, "Hey, listen, we did do search warrant or whatever." What's the likelihood of basically, since now it's public and they did a search warrant, that he'll either be in cuffs, or do you think this is a grand jury proceeding where we won't see Diddy in cuffs until there's an indictment?
Yeah. So the thing is they don't really need to do anything as far as like letting the subject of the search warrant know. The only thing they have to do is they got to give Diddy a return. So once they do their search warrant and they're done, they have to give him a list of all the things they took from him, right? So that he knows, and it's going to be numbered and all that other stuff, right? Because you have to do that by law. Whatever you take, you have to let them know what you took specifically.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm like, wait a minute, what? I'm like, what is I talking about? Let them know? Now, once a judge sign a warrant, nobody needs to know. Nobody needs to know. Once a warrant is signed, they going for whatever that warrant is subject to. That's what they going for. They don't care who's there. And then after they take all the items, then they'll make a list and just to let you know what they took, because that's for you and your lawyer now. Now you have a case to fight.
However, the fact that they're doing a search warrant, it's not good. I would say there's a very high likelihood that he might get arrested after this. Because what people need to understand is you need a significant amount of probable cause to go into someone's home, right? So when you look at like getting a search warrant, right, for like a phone, versus getting a search warrant for like a computer, or getting a search warrant for a house or an email, etc., the house is always at the top of the hierarchy because that's considered your castle, right? So for you to be able to get a search warrant on a home, it requires by far the most probable cause. I'll say the only thing that beats out a house is getting a wiretap for probable cause. So,
hey, can I ask you this?
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So now here's also the thing that I think makes this very interesting. Like some of the allegations and what we've just heard publicly, they span all the way back to the 90s.
Yeah.
Now, because of the time span, how does that change the scenario? Because, like, again, if someone is like, yo, hey, listen, this happened, there might be a couple of VHS tapes this motherfucker kept of like him having these little orgies. It's like, what is the time span of this criminal, accusation? Because really it spanned from the 90s to now. How would like HSI or any like government body treat that?
So that's a really good question. All right. So the most federal crimes have a 5-year statute of limitations, right? I'm looking. It looks like the FBI is out there too. I'm looking at this Fox News thing. It looks like that.
Really?
I can tell from their vest. It looks like the bureau's out there too.
Oh,
okay.
Fuck.
So, all right. And the sheriff's office, it looks like. But anyway, most federal crimes have a 5-year statute of limitations, right? So,
Myron's like everybody's out there. He said, yeah. He's like, yeah. Oh yeah, they out there too. Oh yeah. Damn, they out there too. Damn. Yeah, Diddy is fucked. He's fucked. He's going in. But this is actually a good breakdown. But he's going to jail.
Since most crimes have that statute of limitations, obviously if there were allegations in the 90s, they can't do anything. However, right, if the feds could prove that this has been a continuing conspiracy, that he's been doing this shit since then and he's still doing it up to 5 years ago, all that shit comes in. All that stuff comes in, right? Because they're gonna, and they could also, if they also wanted, they could go through a RICO way to do it as well. If they could identify other people in his organization that have been helping him out, doing this crap, et cetera, RICO is also a way to get around the statute of limitations. That's how they were able to indict all these mafia guys for stuff that was going on, a decade prior, et cetera. And it's because they're able to establish, there's a continual conspiracy. They've been doing this shit for a while. He's still doing it, and then all that stuff comes in.
Wow, did y'all hear what he said? He said that based on statute of limitations, yes, statute of limitations do exist. Statute of limitations have expiration, but if there is a RICO case involved, it brings it all back in when there's a RICO case involved, and you're doing the activity is recent of the statute of limitation crime that expired, but you're still doing it recent within the last 5 years, they could bring everything up from back in the day. That's very good information to know, because it's going to this is going to be news for the next, oh man, this is going to be news for the next year. Yes. And if Diddy is found, let's say if he goes through a trial, that's going to be another 2 years of media news on Diddy. Then let's say if Diddy's found guilty, that's going to be another 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, because they're going to be trying to interview Diddy in prison. They're going to be trying to write books. They're going to be trying to get interviews of his sons. They're going to be trying. This is media news for the next decade plus.
Man,
That's how they're able to get around their statute of limitations problems.
Yo, this looks bad. I'm gonna be honest with you. You know, again, first of all, I was saying about like just Diddy's ability to make an income. You know, yes, he has certain type of shit baked in. Like, for example, he makes a lot of money off publishing, and if you listen to a Biggie record or certain Bad Boy artists, he's always gonna get money from. It's actually a sizable amount of money he'll always get. But the majority of the money that really, because he was catapulted into a billionaire status, which, by the way, other than him, before, the only times I can remember raids being done, obviously they did one on Mar-a-Lago for Trump, but, you know, they're almost kind of, that Trump raid isn't this. Like, they're almost looking like this, like, is a Epstein type of thing. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, what, you know, his income is going to be like trashed. Like, it's no way he's going to be making whatever he was making previously just off of this headline. Is part of the Fed strategy when they're going up against a high profile person like Diddy. Hey, listen, this is a guy of multiple resources, many finances. We should attack him in a public type of forum that would probably hurt those things and probably help our case in possibly either bringing charges or getting a conviction. Because, infamously, what's my guy's name again? Irv Gotti said he felt the part of the Fed strategy was to deplete him of the resources. Like, for example, they audited like the label and audited his business, so he couldn't use money as freely as needed. So when it came to his other friends that were charged with like really heinous crimes, he couldn't contribute to their legal fees or anything like that. And he felt that was a ploy for the government to get him. You get what I mean? Yeah. I know it's super early, but like, watching this happen with Diddy, I'm like, how could Diddy make a living now?
Yeah, I fixed my mic a little bit. I adjusted it. Let me know if that sounds better.
Oh no, it sounds way better.
It sounds way better. All right, sorry about that, chat. Give me ones in the chat if it's good. Okay, so let's talk. Okay, so I see what you're saying here. So let's attack this from, I guess, overall. Do the feds actively go after your income?
Yes.
To purposely cripple you financially so you can't defend yourself?
Yes. Yeah, that's the question.
The answer is it depends. So if they know that your money is illicit, they will. They'll freeze your bank accounts. They know you're a drug dealer, etc. They will, right? I turned my volume up a little bit. All right, guys, I turned it up just a little bit, but I brought it down because I'm on Discord. But I brought it up a little bit. Should be good now. Give me ones if it's good now. I just turned it up just a tad. Anyway, so do they purposely go try to cripple you financially? No, unless they know that you got your funds illicitly. Let's say you're a drug trafficker, etc. Yeah, they're definitely going to move to freeze your money. Now, with that said, Diddy has legit money, right? He made it off the music business, off Ciroc, etc. Most of it, more than likely, is probably going to be clean money. He shouldn't have an issue with that. But if they could show that you were money laundering for a drug trafficking organization or some other unlawful, it's called PUA, it's called SUA, specified unlawful activity, right? Then they're going to go after your money. So that's step one. But if they don't, then it is what it is. The real reason why the feds win most of their cases, bro, is because they do their investigation for a long period of time. Oh, shit. Is that fucking Tony?
What?
Bro, I think I recognize one of the guys on the floor here right now that they're showing on TV, on your stream.
Man, rest in peace, Diddy, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Nah,
Anyway.
it's great. Hey, if you recognize some of your former coworkers, it's over, Diddy, man.
Yo, what the fuck?
Yo, I said if you recognize the former coworker, it's over for Diddy. That's funny. Yo, he recognized a coworker. Who is he? He talking about the dude, the boy head dude down there on the right? Or the dude standing like top cop on the left? What officer he talking about? Yeah, but he's right though. I kind of disagree with him. I think that yes, if you have legal money, they don't have the right to confiscate it because it's legal money. But I think part of the meetings when they go in to raid people or these big cases and people that got money, and I even think people that really don't got too much money, but they focus on people that have money majority of the time. I think the strategy is, I don't think it's a set rule. And I think that's where Myron kind of like stepping on, pins and needles. But I think it's not a set rule, but they do attack you financially because, I mean, that's a strategy, man. The criminal justice system is all about strategies, case studies, and this and that. And, it's all about what story's believable and who has the most money. And the federal government has the most money for everybody. If you're a billionaire, the government is a multi-trillionaire. You know what I mean? So you can't compete with the federal government. But the whole thing about the government is they got budgets. Yeah, they have a budget. If they need to go over that budget, they will. If the budget is, let's say, 50 million. If they gotta go 200 million to beat you, they're gonna go 200 million because you know what? They're going to put it all on the taxpayers. That's the difference.
Bro. Yo.
Damn.
I digress. So, what the hell? Anyway, so the reason why the feds beat so many people isn't necessarily because they cripple you financially when they go after people like this that have a lot of money. It's because they've done their investigation for years prior to them coming after you. Right? Or at least a year or several months. Like, they're not going to go ahead and execute a search warrant unless they're 100% certain that they're going to probably get some evidence out of that. And they're not going to indict you unless they're 100% sure that they're going to win the case. The fucking, the United States Attorney's Office, bro, has like a 98% win rate, and it's because they don't even indict unless they're ready for trial. I'll tell you guys this from personal experience. So, anytime I would give my grand jury package to an AUSA, right, which is all the documents, all the evidence to indict the case, the AUSA would always tell me, I need more. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why do you need so much, bro? This is just probable cause. But they're like, no, I need everything to go for trial right here, right now. So I couldn't even give them the package and then push it up for indictment unless the AUSA felt like they're ready for trial. That's how thorough they are with this stuff.
Wow. This looks really bad. So, in terms of timing, it was interesting to note. They said that the feds they knew what was going on. They said they allowed Diddy to leave the property, and then they did this. So they put his sons in cuffs. But as far as we know, Diddy flew somewhere else. Is there a thought towards, like, if you have a search warrant to serve, are you gonna make sure the person? Obviously, this is a different situation because there's multiple properties, and also they probably, want to feel like they're catching these people at the most off guard time. Is there a way to kind of normally serve a search warrant? Like, okay, they won't be expecting it this time, or you're like, hey, we're just gonna show up when we show up.
Yeah. So it's standard procedure that once you're doing a search warrant, everyone that's in the house gets handcuffed. It's just like a safety thing. Like, it doesn't mean you're under arrest or whatever. They just restrain you and make sure they remove all the people outside of the premises, and then they basically own the house while they're doing their search warrant. So they handcuff everybody, remove them from the property, and then they go in and they do what they got to do. So it doesn't necessarily mean you're arrested. They just detain you for safety reasons.
Jesus. By the way, according to what at least First 11 is saying, or First Coast News is saying, they're saying that the feds are looking into possibly charges of, sex trafficking, illegal possessions of firearms. Let me see what else they said. Says sources tell NBC Diddy is the subject of a federal investigation. My bad, I'm waiting until this goes past. With witnesses interviewed, what? Regarding allegations of sex trafficking. Witnesses, okay, that's a problem. With sex trafficking, assault, drug possession, illegal firearm possession. Wow. Why would Homeland Security? I thought Homeland Security was like meant to, like, after the horrific situation with 9/11. I thought Homeland Security was meant to, like, prevent things like that. Like, why do they care if Diddy's, having some orgies? He likes when other men have sex with his wives. That's his thing.
Yeah. All right, so we got to talk about this P. Diddy situation. This is getting pretty crazy. And I'm not talking about what's already out there. I'm not talking about his houses getting raided and all this stuff, which I'm sure you guys have all seen on news outlets, on social media. Everybody talking about his houses getting raided. He's apparently on his private jet to some island or whatever. I'm talking about this letter that was filed 2 days ago, just 2 days ago. And I don't know if this is a contributing factor to what has transpired today, but this is definitely a little bit shocking. So as you guys know, or you might not know, there's another person that has come forth and filing a lawsuit against P. Diddy. This one is Rodney Jones, right? Now, this letter, it starts off by saying they dismiss that the attorney on behalf of the plaintiff has dismissed a couple of the defendants, because it's like a long list of defendants. But when you get to this last paragraph right here, which I'm going to highlight, this is concerning. It says, instead, defendant Sean Combs, through his representatives, has engaged in concerning behavior, including manufacturing stories about plaintiff on TMZ and dispatching his agents to harass plaintiff's 8-year-old daughter, the mother of his child, and ex-spouses, all of whom have expressed fear of potential harm by defendant Combs. That's crazy. They have expressed fear of potential harm by the defendant. So again, I don't know if this is like a contributing factor or whatnot, but this is crazy. All right, and this letter was filed 2 days ago on March, I think it was March 23rd, yeah. That's crazy. So let me just go up here. Yeah, this one's dated March 23rd. And it says here on March 21st.
All right, what's up with y'all? So look, I had just got done editing this video to get paid. You know, the views pay and stuff like that. Cool. We'll have some integrity with this stuff, man, because people really take a lot of stuff that people say for face value.
All right, so we got to talk about this P. Diddy situation. This is getting pretty crazy. And I'm not talking about what's already out there. I'm not talking about his houses getting raided and all this stuff, which I'm sure you guys have all seen on news outlets, on social media. Everybody talking about his houses getting raided. He's apparently on his private jet to some island or whatever. I'm talking about this letter that was filed 2 days ago, just 2 days ago. And I don't know if this is a contributing factor to what has transpired today.
Nima Rahmani as well. He's a former federal prosecutor. He's president of the West Coast Trial Lawyers, and he also lives. Nima Rahmani as well. He's a former federal prosecutor. He's president of the West Coast Trial Lawyers, and he also lives right by where the raid happened in Los Angeles, and he heard all of the activity. Holy cow. Nima, so take me there and tell me what you heard and saw and what you know.
Oh, helicopters all day today, Ashley. I live a mile or two away from Diddy's residence, and not quite as big, but there was a flurry of activity, streets shut down, and like you said, a heavy law enforcement presence here in Holmby Hills.
Okay, so, you just heard me talking to Jim Murray. He's also a lawyer. He knows when it's a raid and when it's like big firepower raid. They're very different. This is nothing, by the way, compared. If you're thinking, well, yeah, Donald Trump had Mar-a-Lago raided, it was not like this. There weren't guns drawn like that. There were no SWAT vehicles, etc. And there's another guy with a lot of money. The public showing, Nima, this is a big deal. When authorities are going to execute something with this kind of precision in 3 jurisdictions, they know that the cameras and the helicopters and people like you are going to see it in Los Angeles. There has to be a very big reason, a very big piece of probable cause, not just maybe, right?
Well, of course, Ashley. And we know that the Southern District of New York, they're the most prestigious prosecutor office in the country. And when you're executing a raid like this, you care about 3 things. First, of course, is the threat of violence. And Diddy reportedly has a lot of firearms. He has a lot of security. That is not an easy house to get control over. Second, of course, you worry about an individual fleeing. And when you're talking.
He actually makes a good point, because the person is somebody of wealth. They have access to guns. They got access to security. They got access to all type of hidden buck. They they're wealthy. They got access to so much things. I mean, you could go on a property and they probably have some sophisticated, way, and bombs go off every time you step into a new room in a house. Who knows, man? Who knows? But what he's saying, he actually has a good point. He looks like a lawyer too, for real, for real. Look at that here. Look at that here.
About sex trafficking from the federal level, you're talking about 10 or 15-year mandatory minimum sentences. So this is a very serious crime, and people have a lot of reasons to leave the country. And third, of course, you care about the destruction of evidence. That's why you need to execute these search warrants at the same time.
I personally think that P. Diddy is going to leave the country like Russell Simmons. I think he's going to leave the country like Russell. I actually think P. Diddy been thinking about it, and I think he has things in place where if something like this happened, because you have to know you're committing crimes. You have to know that, you have this problem that you just can't stop because you think you're so powerful. He knows it. And I think he's planning to leave. But this is what I think about gut feeling. I think that P. Diddy has steps put in place. So if something like this does happen, he could leave. But I think he didn't complete the steps. I think he started it and probably got up to 30 to 40% of the steps completed. So he's probably in the airport pasting right now, like, what else I gotta do? Do we get the charter jet to the island? Is such and such there? Or is groceries at the fridge in that crib in the island, so I'm gonna be starving? I don't think he put everything in place. And that's my take on it. Now, I mean, thanks for watching. No Joker.
Make sure people don't start destroying documents, don't start destroying evidence. So that's exactly what happened here. It was done with precision. Now, obviously, we don't know where Diddy is in all this, but this is exactly how you do it if you're federal law enforcement agents.